For this video, we are going to be playing a special scenario of basic battles that we are calling Dragon Resurrected. Ta-da! Hello gamers, Matthew here from Grey Army Gaming. For today's Bat Rep, we've got something really exciting for you, a basic battles game in which we have 7 wizards going against one another to try to resurrect the dragon that you see here in the center. Now there are going to be some special rules we're going to use, and we can introduce those before we introduce all 7 of our wizards, and then we'll go ahead and roll off for initiative. For this game, we'll be using the Basic Battle Super Small Skirmishes rule set that you can find in the link in the description below. In addition, I've also made a video where I've introduced some magic rules, and we will be using the magic rules in this game as well. 6 different spells. The only difference from that video is that I've changed the name of one of the spells from Magical Gate to Magical Tether. For this game, each of our wizards is going to have a total of 6 wounds and a total of 10 magic points. Now what's cool about this is that you can sacrifice life or wounds in order to get more magic points. But once your wizard hits 0, they are taken out of the battlefield. The most important rule for this special scenario is that all of the wizards are trying to compete to resurrect the dragon. Now what they need to do is to get up onto this platform and come into base-to-base contact where this orb is, so right below, and they need to be able to cast the spell Dispel Magic. Once they do that, they will successfully resurrect an ancient red dragon who will now fight on their side. The dragon will come into play right on top of the sarcophagus with 10 total wounds. It will have flying movement, which will allow it to move even further and to cross difficult terrain. And it will have a breath weapon of 8 inches, which causes an automatic 2 wounds if it connects. The game therefore ends when one wizard remains standing, and this can happen whether that wizard gets the help of the red dragon or not. The specific rules for magic we will introduce as we go along in the game. Now with all of this behind us, we can go ahead and introduce our 7 wizards one at a time. Our first wizard using the dark gray die is going to be Arcus. Second, with the blue die and the serpent staff, we have Salina. Third, with the silver and yellow die and a sickle in his hand, we have the wizard Fandon. With a yellow-orange die and a scroll, we have Tychus. With the red die and a red cap holding the orb in his hand, we have Malden. With the white-gray die and sporting the claws, we have Baronod. And finally, our 7th wizard with the golden die and the keys, we have Galadar. So there you have the wizards that we will be using in this game. Let's go ahead now and roll a d8 for each of them and put their placement on the board. You see here, this could be a 1, 2, over here in this corner, 3, 4, 5 down here, 6 down here, 7, and 8 over there. So let's go ahead and roll off for each one of them, give their placement, and we'll show you how that looks. So here we are. Here is our placement. If you look around, they are nicely spread out. We got 2 guys up here. Over here, we got this guy here in the corner, down here. Over on this side, we have got another guy hidden right there. Down here, we've got this guy, and right across from him, almost parallel to his position, is this guy. And that will be all 7 of our wizards. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and roll off all 7 of our d20s, and we will do that for initiative order. We will assign each of our guys a number with a die so we know what order initiative they have, and then we will go ahead and start to play. Okay, here we go. We got 7 d20s, and we're rolling off for initiative. So here now you see the initiative order, and we will begin now with Malden, the red one, and then we will move on to Salina, the blue die. After that, we will go over to our dark gray die, Arcus, followed by Baronod. Baronod will be followed up by Galadar. Galadar will then be followed up by Tychus, and last of all, we will have Fandon. With no further ado, let's go ahead and fight this game of basic battles. So let's go ahead and begin with Malden here, and what we're going to be using for movement values in this game is the following. A normal movement will be 1d6 plus 3 inches, a run will be 2d6 plus 3 inches, and a charge will be 2d6 inches. Now because we are going to try to use magic later, we are only going to roll 1d6 plus 3. So a total of 6-inch movement. And Malden's going to go ahead and spend 2 magic points to use teleport. And that will bring him 6 inches in any direction he wants. We're going to run towards that orb. And there you see his final position. He is getting dangerously close to that orb. Next thing, let's run up here to our next guy. And this is going to be Salina. He's going to go ahead and move his normal 1d6 plus 3 inches. 5 total. Salina now has line of sight over here, so he's going to cast Magical Tether for 2 magic points, which means that this guy is unable to move in the next round if he does not use Dispel Magic. So Malden is unable to move. He will not be able to move in his movement phase, so he is stuck there. Next, let's go ahead and run over here to Arcus. He is also going to do a standard move, 1d6 plus 3 inches. So a total of 4 inches. And Arcus is going to spend 2 magic points to cast Magic Ward, which makes him untouchable by magic until his next round. From Arcus now, we're going to run over to the other side over here with the scroll. Tychus is going to go ahead and move and cast a spell. So 2 plus 3, 5 inches. Alright, Tychus is going to spend 3 points and cast Magical Storm. So he needs to find a point that is 12 inches away, and that will be exactly on our guy right here. So with his head as the target, we are now going to roll a scatter die and a d6 to see if it is on target or if it moves. And that is a direct hit. So that's going to land right on top of him, causing an automatic 2 wounds, dropping him down to 4. Now, the fun thing about this is that in the next round, when Tychus has the beginning of his turn, we will roll to see where that moves, d6, and in which direction. Next, let's go ahead and run over here to Baranod. Now, we are not going to use any magic. He is just going to run. And for this game, we are trying out a run of 2d6 plus 3 inches. So a total of 7 inches, moving him forward. So there's Baranod's final position. Let's run down here now to Fandon. And he's going to move and try some magic. 1d6 plus 3 inches. 5 inches. Brilliant move of Arcus here to use the magical ward. Otherwise, we would have definitely been doing a magical storm on him. So let's come up with something else. Let's go ahead and do a teleport spell. 2 magic points. On second thought, we're going to run right over here behind this pillar. So right about there. So there's our final position. Let's not forget now our last guy. Let's run down here. Galadare, he is going to go ahead and take a normal movement. 1d6 plus 3, and we are going a total of 9 inches. Galadare is also going to spend 2 magic points for the teleport spell. And that brings us to the end now of round 1. You see all of our wizards are converging into this area here in the center. One of our wizards is underneath a magical storm that was cast by Tychus over here. We got these 2 guys moving up. We have got one guy under magical ward, so he is safe from magical effects. Let's go ahead now and roll off all of our d20s for a new initiative order. And there you see the initiative order. We will be starting with Fandon with a 16 and moving our way to the right. So here we have Fandon right here, and he is going to be running up. Now the question is, Galadare here is really close to getting to that orb. So do we want to use magic for to try to tether him down in place? Or do we want to move up to try to hit him? I think we are going to make a movement and cast Magical Tether on him. 1d6 plus 3 and 6 inches. Fandon casting Magical Tether, and that was fortunate now because it is going to be Galadir's move now. So Galadir cannot move in his movement phase because of the Magical Tether. The question is, does he want to take it off with Dispel Magic, or does he want to do something else? I think what he's going to do is he's going to shoot a Fireball over here at Fandon. With it 8 inches? Absolutely. So it's going to be some juicy revenge, an automatic wound on Fandon. Next in the initiative order, let's run over to Malden, and he is underneath this storm. I think what we should do now is use a point of Dispel Magic to get rid of the storm. He still can't move because he is tethered to the ground, but let's spend a point and get rid of that storm at least so he doesn't take 2 more damage. Next up in the initiative order, let's run over here to Baronod. Normal movement for him, 1d6 plus 3. And he's going to get 4 inches out of the deal. Baronod has to do it. Magic Storm. He's going to cast it from here over onto him. 12 inches. Yes, that will put it directly onto his head. D6 and a directional die. Here we go. And it's going to go 6 inches that direction. Uh-oh. So that is kind of not exactly looking good for Baronod. Getting a little too close to him, but hey, that's how Storm of Magic works. Next in initiative order, Salana is going to move up his normal movement and try to use some magic off. 1d6 plus 3 inches. 6 inches. And we're going to go ahead and cast Fireball, 8 inches. Yes, that's going to hit him right there. So Malden here takes another hit point, dropping him down to 3. All right, let's run over to Tikias. 1d6 plus 3, 7 inches, moving up. Tikias is close now, so he is going to go ahead and cast Teleport, spending 2 points of magic. All right, things are getting messy now. We have our last guy, Arcus. He is over here. He's going to have to try to run over here and see if he can get a line of sight on Tikias to try to cast magical tether maybe. Let's see if he can do it. 1d6 plus 3 inches. No, it's 1 inch, so a total of 4 inches. Let's see if he gets line of sight. And when we get down here and look, unfortunately, he does not have line of sight because that storm of magic is in the way. So he cannot cast Magical Tether. He cannot see the person he is casting it on. First things first, in his magic phase now, he will lose his magical ward, so we can take that off. And then Arcus is going to go ahead and cast Magical Storm on a point that he can see 12 inches from him. Let's go and see where we can find that. So right about there. Okay, you can see this point now is right in the middle of these 3 wizards, so this could be very destructive. Let's go ahead and roll off our D6 and our direction die. 5 inches in that direction. So that will put us pretty much right on top of this monument, right there. So here's how things look at the end of this round. We have got a bunch of wizards in the middle making their run for that orb, but we've got 2 magical storms in the center. Some people have taken some damage, some are doing okay. Let's go ahead and roll off for initiative. And here is the initiative order. We have Salana with the blue, followed by Malden. So this is going to be pretty exciting. Let's go ahead and start off with Salana. Salana up here is going to begin by just doing a simple movement, maybe trying to keep his distance and cast some magic. So 4 plus 3, 7 inches. He's actually going to run around and try to stay away from this magical storm. And from his position here, he's going to go ahead and cast Magical Tether on Tikias, who is making a charge for the orb. Second, we are going to have our next guy here, Malden, and he is going to cast Dispel Magic. Now, Dispel Magic is the only spell you can cast not in the magic phase out of turn order, so he's going to cast that right away to remove this Magical Tether, and then he's going to try to go ahead and move over close to the orb. 5 inches. Let's see if that's enough. Yes, that looks like it will be enough, so that will put him right where he needs to be so he can cast Dispel Magic next time on the orb, but that puts him dangerously close now to this magic storm. So we're going to have to go and roll off for that a little bit later. Next up, Tikas here is going to also cast Dispel Magic, taking off that magical tether, and now he's going to actually charge into their first guy, their Malden, and try to attack him. 2d6 on the charge. Yes, no problem. 8 inches. Because he's charging, Tikas gets a 2d20s. The first is an 11. The second attack is a 4. Malden's defense is a 19, so none of the attacks goes through. Next thing, we run over here to Baronod, and he has this magical storm, so we need to roll a d6 and a direction die to see where it moves. And we're going 5 inches in the opposite direction. That looks like it is going to, in fact, hit Fandon. So indeed, Fandon does get hit, dropping him down 2 more hit points. So that will be a total of 3 left over. Baronod is going to charge up 4 inches only. And the best thing for him to do now is to cast Magical Ward, which will make him safe from magic for this turn until his next round. And it is fortunate he does that because that other magical storm is getting awfully close to him. Alright, next we run down to Geldenar here, and this is his magical storm. We're going to have to roll this off for direction and how many inches. So, 5 inches directly down. Fandon here was already in the storm. The storm was just leaving, so he doesn't take any additional damage. Geldenar here is going to remain tethered, and he's going to cast another magical storm going onto the head of Tychus. This is bringing him down to 4 magic points. So here we go. And it'll go 1 inch in that direction. Up this direction 1 inch, which means it's still going to probably hit both of them. Indeed, that is how the storm is going to look, causing 2 wounds to both of those guys. That brings Tikas down to 4 wounds, and our other guy, Malden, is down to a single wound. Alright, let's go to the next initiative order, and we have Fandon here. He is going to go ahead and do a normal movement to get up on that platform. Yes, a total of 9 inches if he wants. So Fandon is going to do something horrible here, and he is going to cast Fireball. And that's going to hit both of those guys, causing 1 additional wound to Malden, which means he is dead, and dropping Tikas down to 3 hit points. Finally, let's get Arcus over here involved in the picture. He's going to run up a normal movement and try to cast a spell. So 1d6 plus 3 inches. He's going to move a total of 4 inches. And I almost forgot, we need to move the blue storm that Arcus cast in his last turn. So we got to roll for that first before we actually moved him. So let's go ahead and see if that makes any difference. 1d6 in a direction, die 6 inches off in that direction, off to the left. And Arcus now is going to spend, let's say 2 magic points. Let's only do that. And he's going to cast Fireball, which is actually going to hit both of these guys. So 1 point of damage to each of them. So both Fandon and Tikas are down to 2 hit points each. Now, the thing that we need to remember here is that if he's going to be able to do anything, he needs to get rid of this Storm of Magic. So he'll have to use that in his next turn if it doesn't move first. So here's how things look at the end of this round. We have got 3 storms of magic flying around on our battlefield. We have got 1 guy dangerously close to that orb, a bunch of them other running in. But unfortunately for Tikas, he is getting low in hit points. We've lost 1 of our wizards, so we are now down to 6 total. Let's go ahead and roll off for initiative. So here is our initiative order. We are starting off with Galladair, and he is going to be followed now by Fandun. And after Fandun, we go over to Arceus and so forth. So let's go ahead and start off with Galladair. First off in the initiative order is going to be Galladair, but this means we have to move 2 of the storms. First this one and then our green one. So let's start out with our orange storm. And it's going to be moving 1 inch to the right, which will not affect Tychus because he's already in the storm. But we also have to roll for this green one. So here we go. Let's do the same thing. 4 inches that direction. Doesn't look like it's going to hit anybody. Alright, now Galladair can take his turn. He is not going to dispel magic on that tether. He's going to stay put and not move, and instead he's going to fire off a fireball. And yes, that is going to hit Tychus, dropping him down to 1 hit point. Running over here now to Fandun, his turn. We're going to move him up his normal movement. Okay, so up to 4 inches. We'll bring him right to the edge of this storm. And then he's going to spend 2 magic points to give him a magical ward, a magic ward. So there we go, magic ward. This means he is protected from all effects of magic. It was good he did that now because we are going to have Arceus here. He is going to activate, and let's run him up a normal movement. All right, up to 8 inches. So here we go. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, up, 5, and we will leave him right here. He's going to cast Fireball now, spend 2 magic, and attack those 2 guys in front of him. However, Fandun has magical ward, so he is not affected by the Fireball. That drops Arceus down to 1 hit point, but that is enough damage to destroy Tychus. He is removed from the battlefield. Let's go now to Baronod. Seeing his opportunity, he's going to charge right here into Fandun. Baronod getting 2 attacks. First one is cocked. Let's roll that again. A 3 on the first attack. Second attack is an 11. Fandun coming back and rolls a 10. So no, he takes 1 wound. And that will drop Fandun down to a single hit point. And last but not least, Salana is going to make his move. Let's do a normal move and then maybe cast Magical Ward. All right, perfect. That's a total of 9 inches. Two magic points for Magical Ward. So here's the crazy mess we are in after the end of the round. We have lost another wizard, and we've got all of our wizards converging here. 1 of them is immobile. 3 of them have magic ward. This guy right here, Arceus, is pretty strong, coming on from behind. Let's go ahead and roll off for initiative. So here is the result. Baronod is going to begin, and he will be followed after that by Galladair. Alright, so here is Baronod right here, and I have an idea. He wants to try something crazy. He has full hit points, 6 hit points. I think this is what we're going to do. We're going to try to charge into the storm, take the damage, get within here, within range, and do Dispel Magic to see if we can resurrect the dragon. That means that this guy here also gets an attack of opportunity because they are in combat. So this could go really, really poorly for Baronod, or it could go awesome. Let's go ahead and try it out. First off, here's his movement. 4 inches, no! Is that going to be enough to get him into the orb? Yes, it is. Actually, that's just perfect. He couldn't have any less than that, but wow, holy cow. Okay, so 4 inches, that's going to get him in. All right, so now we get an attack of opportunity against him. Fandun is attacking with a 12. Baronod's defense is a 10. No, so he's going to take 1 wound, dropping him down to 5. So once he enters the storm now, what's going to happen is that his magical ward is going to dissipate on his magic phase, which means he immediately takes 2 more wounds from the storm. And that will drop him down to 3 hit points. Baronod is now going to use a Dispel magic point, dropping him down to 4 magic points to cast this spell. Now, typically when you want to play with magic, you'll be using a chart that you will roll each and every time that you cast a spell. Now, I have not been using this chart because I want to try to keep this game extremely simple to begin with. But now I want to use the chart when I am going to do the Dispel on this orb. And the chart looks like this. On a 1, it is an automatic fail. You take a wound and you lose a magic point. On a 2 to 5 on a d20, you fail. You lose an additional magic point. On a 6 to a 19, you have a success, and on a 20, you have a success. You gain a wound and you gain a magic point. So here's the big roll for Baradon. We need a 6+ for him to resurrect the dragon. 13! Oh, it's a success. The dragon is resurrected. What is thy bidding, my master? So there we go. Now we have the red dragon, which is in play under the control of Baradon. He will jump into the initiative order in the next round. So we have another round to continue this on. If Baradon is killed, then what happens is that the dragon will then be transferred to whoever was able to kill Baradon. Seeing what has happened, Galdanar here is going to go ahead and cast Magical Storm, and he's going to cast it right on Baranod's head. Now the problem is, Galadar only has 2 magic points left, so he's going to sacrifice one of his hit points in order to pull off the Magical Storm. So he's dropped now down to 5 hit points. Storm is right on Baranod's head. Here we go. And it's going to be a direct hit. So when we place that on top here, we will see that the dragon and, well, basically everybody there will take 2 points of damage. Baranod goes down to 1 hit point, the dragon goes to 8, and Salana goes down to 4. But I forgot now that we also needed to move the orange template here as well. So let's go ahead and roll that off. 5 inches up. And the green spell also needs to move 4 inches that direction. And that is coming dangerously close to Galadar. Next up, Arcus. This guy right here is going to, he's going to try to take a couple steps back. Up to 7 inches. He's just going to step off of the platform. And we also need to roll here for the storm. I almost forgot that. That is under Arcus's control, so let's go ahead and roll that. 6 inches directly down. Having jumped down now, Arcus is still within line of sight of Baranod, is going to go ahead and cast Fireball. Now, he only has 1 magic point left, so this is going to cost him a point of hit points. So he is down to 5, but this will be enough to kill Baranod. And with that, the allegiance of the Red Dragon is now shifted over to Arcus. My allegiance is now to you, my master. Over to Salana. He is going now to try to run towards Arcus. 7 inches will be enough for him to get through the storm. He still has his magical ward on and jump off the platform. And immediately he's now going to spend 3 magic points to cast Magical Storm. We're going to put the point right here behind Arcus, so get some distance between him at that point and Salana. Huge roll, here we go. And it is a direct hit. And that means that Arcus takes 2 points of hit point damage, dropping him now down to 3. Let's run over here to Fandon now. He is really close to these storms. He is going to go ahead and try to get out of there. A total of 6 inches. Actually, on second thought, we're going to move him right here. And because he is at risk of dying, he's going to cast Dispel Magic and take this Magic Storm out of commission. No, he is going to stay where he was. Over here. Let's put him right. Let's put him right here. And he's going to shoot off a fireball on Arcus. So that depletes Fandon of all of his magic points. He only has 1 hit point left. He's going to take a chance here with the storms, but that's going to drop Arcus down to 2 hit points. Rolling for initiative. This could very well be the last initiative roll. We're going to throw in a red d20 for the dragon. Here we go. So here's how it's going to be. With a natural 20, the dragon is going to begin, followed then by Selena and Arcus and so forth. So let's go ahead and use our dragon. Dragon is going to use a little bit of its movement to jump down here, remaining within the storm of magic because we don't want to take any additional damage later. So we will stay there in the storm of magic. Let's move a little bit more this direction. And we're going to use the dragon's breath weapon, which causes 2 wounds on a successful hit. So attacking Salinda, we have a 9, and it is a 4. No, so 2 wounds go through on Salinda, and that will drop him down to 2 hit points. Next, we're going to continue the breath weapon. It goes through Salinda into Fandon. And we rolled a 15, Fandon, natural 20! So Fandon is able now to avoid the fire as he jumps out of the way. Selena's turn now. Let's go ahead and roll for this storm of magic and see where it moves. 5 inches in that direction. Oh my goodness, it's going to hit Fandon. So Fandon gets caught up in the storm and he is going to lose 2 hit points. That's enough to take him out of commission. Selena, seeing his opportunity, is going to cast a storm over here on him. That's a total of 3 magic points, bringing him down to 1. No, I'm sorry. He is at 1, so he cannot do that. He's going to go ahead and try to charge into him instead. Hand-to-hand combat. 2d6 on the roll. No problem. 2 attacks on the charge. First one's a 15. And another 15. So 2 15s. Here we go. Coming back 17. So Arcus is able to avoid both of those attacks. Arcanus now is going to stay in hand-to-hand combat and attack back. Here he is, hitting on a 5. And we are rolling a 19, so that attack misses as well. Moving on to Galader's turn here, but that means we have to move the green, the blue, and the orange storm. Let's start with the orange one. 1 inch up. Next, the blue one in the middle. 5 inches, the same direction. And finally, the green one here. 6 inches in that direction. Oh no, that's going to hit the dragon. Dragon taking 2 hit points, down to 6. All right, now Galader here is going to go ahead and do a normal move. 4 inches. But that's right, he cannot do that because he has this tether on him. So instead, here's what we're going to do. We are going to cast Magical Storm over onto the head of Selena. And we're going to do that now by spending 3 hit points, which means we're down to 2. So here we go, onto the head of Selena. This is a huge roll. No, it's going to go 5 inches that direction. And that's going to bring it like right here onto the dragon. So the dragon is going to be hit again, dropping the dragon down to 4 hit points. End of that round now. Things are looking ugly. The dragon is almost getting defeated here. We've got a hand-to-hand combat over here. This guy is still tethered magically to the ground. Let's go ahead and roll off for initiative. And here's the results. Selena will begin, then Arcus, Dragon, and we will end off with Galader. Selena begins, which means that this storm has to move. It's going to move 6 inches in that way. Uh-oh. Getting dangerously close to Galader here. Selena is going to stay in hand-to-hand combat and attack Arcus. Hitting on a 12 and a defense of a 13, so it doesn't go through. Arcus is going to pull out to get away from the dragon's breath, so he's going to go 9 inches away. And Selena gets an attack of opportunity on that. A natural 20! Oh my gosh, it's a natural 20! Oh, double the wounds! Double the wounds! Is Arcus able to... No, it's a 6! Oh my gosh! So he cuts him down as he runs. As he runs away, he gets a critical hit on that attack, dropping Arcus to the ground. And what this means now is that the dragon's allegiance suddenly shifts to Selena's. I mean, it shifts to Selena, whatever his name is. He now has a red dragon. But we also can't forget that this was under the control of Arceus before he died. So let's go ahead and roll off and see where that one goes. 5 inches downward. Okay. That is where that will end up. And as Arceus dies anyway, the magic will be dissipated and it will be taken off the board. With the dragon now under the control of Salina, he is going to turn and use a breath weapon against, what is his name? Galadar. Galadar has 2 wounds now, so on a successful attack, this will go through. Here we go. Let's roll it off. The attack of a... Ooh, that was cocked. 18. Galadar, what do you got? 7! No! So 2 wounds goes through, knocking out Galadar. And what that means is that Galadar's spells instantly dissipate. And Salina also allows his spell to dissipate. With 2 hit points left and no magic, Salina makes his way up to the red dragon, where the red dragon takes a knee and bows before him.
My master, tonight we rest, and tomorrow we conquer the world.
Salina has the dragon rise to his feet, looks into his dark red eyes, and says, "Very well." Well, there you have it, folks. The conclusion of our crazy game of 7 wizards all against each other to try to resurrect the red dragon. This was really a bloodbath. It came down to a single wizard with no magic left, 2 hit points. The dragon had changed possession to 3 different wizards, so there was a lot happening. If I were to do this again, I would change a few things. I think the chart that I had used to dispel the magic on the orb, I would use that chart the entire time to make magic a little less potent, which means that you would fail on a 1 to a 5, so there's still a slight chance that you would fail each time you cast a spell. I think I would try that out with all spells, not just the orb spell. Another thing I think that I would change is that I would restrict the number of magical storms to 1 per wizard. So in other words, if you cast a magical storm, you can have that one continue on. As soon as you cast another magical storm, then the first one dissipates. What that means is that there can only be 1 magical storm for each wizard instead of some of the wizards had 3 or even 4 magical storms at one time, and that got a little bit too chaotic and a little bit too hard to keep track of. So I would try to simplify that and keep it restricted to 1 magical storm per wizard. Otherwise, I think there's a lot of promise to these rules. I definitely want to try them again. I would be really excited to get your playtesting feedback as well, so if you have some comments, please do leave them below, and I will read them and get back to you as quickly as possible. Well, this has been a lot of fun, and thank you for joining us. But most importantly, if you appreciate these kind of videos, please do give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below, and we will continue to make more basic battles, super small skirmishes, battle reps in the future. And thank you, of course, for joining us here today at Grey Army Gaming for the future of gaming.
Basic Battles, tabletop games for kids.